Welcome to 5 Good Minutes. You're listening to today's inspirational message on the fruit of the Spirit with Kurt Bjorklund.
The fruit of the Spirit is contrasted in Galatians 5 with the works of the flesh. So the Spirit works to produce certain qualities, and our flesh works to produce certain qualities. We've been taking a look at gentleness this week and how gentleness is contrasted with some of the fruit or works of the flesh that we see in Galatians 5. And one of those works is fits of anger. And the Greek word here is the word thumos, and it means an eruption of anger. And so whenever there's an anger that erupts in us that isn't justified and isn't contained, it is an evidence of the work of the flesh. Now, you may say, well, what does it mean to say not justified, not contained? Well, certainly there is an anger that is justified. Jesus demonstrates this by going into the temple and turning over the tables. Certainly there's an anger that is contained because we're told to be angry and not sin. And so there's a sense in which sometimes when you're angry at something, it's a protective instinct and can be good. But most of the time, what anger is anger is a work of the flesh because it's saying, I want my way or my perception or my thought process to be central, and I want kind of to live in that reality. And gentleness is taking a step back from demanding something be our way. So I want you to think with me about the last time that you had an eruption of anger, that you just got mad. What was the situation? And now I want you just to trace it back with me for a moment. What was behind it? What was it that you were trying to protect? And maybe as you do this exercise, you start saying, hey, I was protecting something good. I was angry on the behalf of, orphan children somewhere. And that was okay, great. Think about your last unrighteous anger, where you got mad at somebody in your family, somebody that you work with, a stranger, and all of a sudden, anger erupted. How would gentleness have manifested it in that? Now, the old adage, maybe you heard as a kid, was when you want to say or do something that's a result of anger, count to 10 and let it pass so that you don't have the eruption of anger. And that's probably an okay management technique. But what's even better than having to count to 10 and say that's probably not a good idea to say that or do that is to have a gentleness in your soul that does not have this clamor to fight over something where you feel like your disposition has been hurt. So what I'm driving at here today is that gentleness is shown in not being given to eruptions of anger. And the true gentleness doesn't even have to fight it as often. Not saying it'll never be there, but it's not constantly having to fight that little eruption. So my question today is where do you find the tendency to erupt with anger? And maybe that's something to bring to God in prayer and just simply say, God, I realize that my desires here are probably not in line with you, and therefore they're not gentle, they're not meek, they're self-serving, and I'm pushing my selfish agenda, and that is why I have these eruptions of anger. And in that, I think you will find some freedom from your own anger and your own eruptions of anger.
Thanks for joining us here today. There's a lot of great content to explore on Orchard Hill Plus and on the Orchard Hill main feed from the weekend. Have a great day. day.